Well, good morning once again. We've got a awesome Father's Day panel planned this morning. You guys get to hear from some of the fathers of Rebel. Pastor Laura is going to be asking some questions this morning to our Father's Day panel, and hopefully we can be like Baldo and not crack up the entire time and get some good info out there. But man, I was waiting. I thought I was going to have to go out there and bust out some of my dad jokes to get those guys to crack, right? Carl, what did Tennessee? The same thing Arkansas. Oh, y'all all lose. Anyways, it's good to be at Rebel. I got plenty more of those. What are a ninja's favorite shoes? Sneakers. I got 4 kids, y'all. But it's good to be here. I'm going to invite our lovely Pastor Laura, our host this morning, up this morning. And then our panel joining us this morning will be none other than my father-in-law, Pastor Charlie. Hey! We have got a soon-to-be father, Pastor Heido. None other than Rebel's very, very own Pastor Brian Miracle. You saw him earlier. Come on down, sir. And then the newest member of the dadhood on our Rebel staff, Pastor Chris. Come on down, sir. I will now shut up and let my wife take over.
This is going to be so fun.
Yeah. I'm excited.
No, I'm just saying, I've got a mic and I can ask you anything I want now. No, but really, I'm excited. Babe. Oh, by the way, you guys, there you go. We got you these nice coffee mugs. There's just water in it. But you can take those home. All right, so let's get started. I'm excited. I get to talk to my dad. I get to talk to Pastor Brian. Heido is just about, how close do we think Bree is here?
Hey, it might happen during the service.
During service. Any moment now. I know, I said please. I texted her. I was like, don't put your feet up, please. Just drink a lot of water. Be still. I need you guys tomorrow. And then after church, it's fine. You can have the baby, but just a little bit longer. And then, Pastor Chris, how old is Sam now?
Samuel just turned 4 months on the 14th.
4 months old. And then, babe, you got how many kids?
Yeah, Asher is 170 months old now, I think. And then, the rest are 14, 12, 7. Yeah, 16, 14, 12, 7, somewhere there, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
And Dad, how about you tell us how many kids you have? How many kids and grandkids?
See, I'm not really a microphone guy here, but of course we have 15 grandkids, another one on the way, and 4 children. And I just say they're all over 30 now, so that way I don't have to remember the exact age.
Pastor Brian, how many kids?
Okay, I have 2, and I'm a girl dad, so I've got Bree, who's ready to pop any second, and Bella back there, and her husband, Jake.
Yeah.
And for guys that don't know, Heido is my son-in-law. So.
Yes, son-in-law. It's all in the family around here.
Son-in-law.
So I'm going to ask the first question, just get us kicked off here. I'm going to ask, when did you know you were ready to be a father, and were you scared? I'd like to hear from maybe one of the younger dads. What do you think, Heido? When did you know you were ready to be a father?
I don't think I'm ready now. I think I'm as prepared as I can be, and I think right now just the best way that I can be a father is to take care of my wife, right, and to stop her from jumping as much as she'd like and running around. She has no job. She has zero responsibility today, but she has a headset and a video camera.
Supposed to not be doing anything.
I don't know. She just finds things to do. And so that's probably my biggest hurdle right now. But I don't think I ever realized when I knew I was ready, or, we had conversations about it. But it just is something that was a nice surprise. And it's just been a learning experience all the way.
I just love how you're embracing that coffee mug and just full-on dad
With
mode
water.
over there. What about you, Dad? What do you think? I mean, what do you think about that question? When did you know you were ready?
Well, I have to say that it goes back to my own family. When I saw how my dad was and all my brothers and sisters, and I thought, that would be cool to be a dad someday. And then when I met that gorgeous, beautiful woman right there, who wouldn't want to be a daddy with that woman right there?
Wow. We have our kids in here this morning.
Oh, my Lanta. All right, then. Let's see. Can you describe the moment you first became a dad, and what did you feel, babe? Can you describe the moment you first became a dad, and what did you feel?
Oh, man. The moment I first became a dad, well, we can't talk about that actual moment.
See what you started, Dad?
But I'm pretty sure it was a good no, I think that Charlie. Jeez,
When did you know? Wait, sorry. When was it? Now you got me all flustered. What's the question?
It's describe the moment you first
describe the
became a
moment
dad.
you first became a
Yes.
dad.
No, I think obviously like the moment I became a dad was like when they pulled Asher out and he's all grimy looking, and you're like, oh my God, what is this? And they're like, cut the umbilical cord, and then it's like the realization of like, oh gosh, like there's a human that depends upon me now. And so yeah, I think it was just a moment of reality for me. It was like, man, this is for real. I created this thing, and now he's like my responsibility, and it doesn't look like what I thought he was. It doesn't look like the movies. Like they don't come out looking like this in the movies. But it was definitely a cool moment to see something that like God created, through you and you.
What about you, Chris? Can you describe the moment you first became a dad?
I had like two moments. So the first moment was like when I married my wife. She had two kids coming into the marriage, and it was like throughout dating, it was like, yo, I'm now going to be responsible for these two kids. So I need to like step up. It's funny, like I know the exact moment. It was when I got my first stimulus check. I was like, I'm finna blow this on anything. But I actually like started like, oh well, let me get like my credit together. Because I was like, yo, I'm gonna marry this woman, so I'm gonna be a dad. Like I gotta get my life together. And then the other moment was seeing my son come into the world for the first time. It was like just a rush of emotions that I can never like retell, but I lived it, and it was like a moment of, okay, I'm gonna do this forever. It's not like when they're 18 they're just out the door. No, like I'm gonna do this forever until my last breath. I'm gonna be this guy's dad, and I'm gonna be there through every single moment. And I had to put it in my mind that I didn't have another choice. Like I'm there for him, and I'm there for the other two. So yeah.
Pastor Brian, what is one of your favorite memories of fatherhood?
Okay, I have two girls, right? So the memory I have is playing pretty princesses with them every day. So I had earrings on and a dress, and I played the role for my daughters. So I got dressed up as a princess. So that's the thing I will always remember. And one other thing I'm going to mention real quick. I'm going to piggyback on the other question. When I found out that Rachel was pregnant, is she in here? Oh. I turned white as a ghost. I was shoveling snow, and she said, I think you're gonna die. Because I was just like white. And then when it was time for me to become a dad, it was like when I got married. I don't remember a thing. It's like, what? I don't. So I was like, sorry, Rachel. Back to the princess thing. Yeah, it was a princess thing.
Back to the princess thing. What do you think, Dad, is one of your favorite memories of fatherhood?
Well, actually, one of my favorite memories would be about some tradition that you're still carrying on with your family, but we always did the New Year's Eve mountain of ice cream sundaes and write down scriptures and things we want for the following year. So when Mom and I would sit there and watch you kids make these humongous piles of ice cream that would melt quickly, and we knew you weren't going to eat them all, but it was all about the fun, and then writing down your scriptures and then watching those things come to fruition. And when you see that with the 4 children, it just really warmed my heart.
So what has been your favorite thing about the stage of life and fatherhood that you're currently in? Anyone? Yeah, because I think it would be cool to get to hear from all of y'all, because you are all in different stages.
So
in
we're
the
empty
season.
nesters now. So this is a huge transition from having, the 2 girls live in my house, to 26 years old. But it's great. My key is they married great guys. And the guys love the Lord. And I've always said one of my requirements is for anyone that wants to marry my daughters, you got to treat them like a princess. And you got to love God.
A pretty princess?
Pretty princess, yeah. And both of them have. And that's just it's awesome for me.
Well, she is. I'll piggyback off of you. So I think it's just fresh on my mind because it's all like, it's weird. I came in, I don't know who, I think it was Alfonso. I was like, hey, man. He's like, hey, happy Father's Day. And so it's just like a really weird, because, I'm usually the one saying that to all the guys, around here. And so it's really different in that respect. And then also just this season comes with a lot of learning and a lot of, I know more about the womb than I've ever known in my life. So it's just really cool just to learn and to be as good of a helper as I can be to my wife. I think it's just really important and my favorite thing so far.
Well, when you get to the point where I am, and you have all the grown children and you have 15 grandchildren, the cool thing about that is when they bring all the kids over and they hang them and put them on your lap and you hear those things going on, instead of being the dad and having to do something, you go, whose is this? No more diaper changing.
So that's your favorite thing about the stage of life / fatherhood that you're currently in?
No more
That's a good spot. It's a very good spot.
Yeah. Babe.
Man, with a 16 and a 7-year-old, and 2 girls in between, I think this stage of fatherhood is like, you can be in the backyard playing, football at one moment, and then, on the freeway with your 16-year-old who's learning how to drive, praying for your life at the next moment. But the cool thing is that our kids are at the stage where, like, the relationship, I think, is like, the beyond conversation of trivial things to, like, our kids, like Asher, asked me something the other day and was just like, man, I never knew you lived in LA. Like, that's crazy. I learned something new about you every day. And so it's that point of relationship
It was
where
like 8 months, and it was before me, so we don't really talk about that season.
Going back to what I said.
relationships, yeah. And the questions that they ask only about after we met. It's just good. No, it's good having conversation with your kids, getting to know them getting to know you, wanting to know more about you, your life, your experience, and not just like, what's the biggest fish in the world? Which is Judah's question. Which is fun, yes.
I think at this stage, for me, it's like learning. I hit the ground sprinting, not running. Like, I hit the ground sprinting. 2 kids straight off the bat, and then 5 months later, find out, like, we're having a baby. So learning 3 different personalities now that Sam's here, it's like, okay, I have to juggle the girl. She's the oldest, and to be, like, sweet and loving with her and same thing with like Jax, my son, and it's like, and then I have like Sam crying in the back, and it's like, okay, I got to learn all these things on how to do it, because like I'm 30, I've never changed a diaper in my life, but I remember when Reagan in the hospital was like, you got to change his diaper, I almost passed out because I didn't. What was like? I don't know how to do that. And then also to go home and cook dinner and make sure that like the kids are fed, and just learning every single thing about them every day. It's like it blows my mind. It keeps me on my toes, but hey, it's gonna be fun. Heido, it's gonna be fun.
Dude,
Always fun.
I don't know how to change a diaper to this day. I might be holding a baby tonight, and I don't know how to change a diaper.
Sam's probably wet if you wanna take one for the team.
Go
Or I
practice.
could just pass to Charlie. Do you want to help me out?
So we'll just do a couple like lighthearted ones. Heido, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a secret agent spy. Because, Spy Kids was the movie that was my favorite movie growing up. So I wanted to be a spy. And I actually, I don't need it. This is just more information that you're asking for, but in first grade, we had show and tell, and I brought, they used to sell like spy gadget toys at Target, and I had a bunch of them. And for show and tell, I brought them, and I told, and half the class believed that my parents were spies because I told them that my parents were spies. And my teacher thought that I was a big fat liar, but that is fine.
Yeah, that's crazy because actually I remember Asher being into those spy toys. So you were probably like, how old were you when was that? Why do I feel so old all of a sudden? You were probably like,
How old was I?
when you were into Spy Kids.
Like preteen? No, I'm just kidding.
Last
2
week.
weeks ago.
Last week. I still have the toys in my backpack. Elementary, first grade, I think.
Yeah. All right, hey, Dad, what kind of kid were you, and did any of your children get passed on these characteristics?
Well, most of the things I was when I was a kid, we don't repeat in the room. But that's not really true. Actually, I think I was more like observant of seeing what you didn't want to do so you wouldn't get in trouble. So I was always watching my younger brother get popped up against the head and thinking, why do you do those things? So I think I was more observant and try to be a little more behaving and do things a certain way just so that I could, I just thought that was the right thing to do. And I think I've seen that in a lot of my kids. I mean, I think we all look at what kind of respect and relationship you want to have with the people around you so we don't go through a room trying to bulldoze anybody or push them around. So I think that's one of the things I like. And then just you can show your presence by just being a person of honor and respect. And I think I did that. And that's all I could say.
That's good. You did do that, Dad. What about you, babe? That same question.
Oh, well, I'm told that I was very wild and rambunctious, very competitive, athletic. I was until I met Jared, and then I'm just like, nobody can be as competitive as that guy, so I'll just bow out and give him that crown. But no, I think characteristics, obviously I loved music. Asher got that gift and he ran with it. I'm extremely literal. Asher is a very literal person. He took that gift and he ran with it. Bella, who's not here, she's not feeling well. Hi, Bella. She's extremely compassionate. I hear her telling stories all the time of, the kid at lunch that's sitting alone and going and sitting, and that reminds me of things I did in middle school. Clearly, all of our kids got more of your characteristics, babe, but Mia's like, I think she got my introvert, like, she likes to lock herself in a room and just chill and be alone. Like, she comes out to be around and then she likes to go. That's me, believe it or not. And then Judah's like, super athlete, competitive, like, just adventurer, just bouncing off the walls. So those are a few of the things that I see in them. I'm sure there's many, many more, but yeah.
All right. Pastor Brian, how old were you when you went on your first date?
Ooh.
Rachel?
On your first date.
Good answer. Good answer.
Rachel, yes.
Okay, don't get me in trouble here. Where's this going? How old was I?
Yeah.
I think I met Rachel when I was, Rachel, where, 28? There you go.
You did remember something.
That's not technically
with
your
Rachel.
first date, but we'll go with that. So how did you guys meet? And when did you know that she was the one?
Oh, I get in trouble with this one too. We went to the same church. I recently, at the time came to her church, and she was up there in the choir. And so I'm looking up going, that one up there is kind of hot. In church. That's where my mind was. And so someone at church introduced us, and that was it.
Wow.
Say what? I'm skipping a little bit.
She was in the choir.
Yeah.
Wow. So during worship, you were eyeing her.
You're trying to get me down this.
Yep.
I know what Rachel's gonna say. No, that was the girl the minute I saw her.
The minute you saw her. Yeah. So, but what was it about her that you knew that she was going to be the one you wanted to be married to and spend the rest of your life with?
She was beautiful, great personality, loved the Lord, outgoing, and even though I'm going to say this, and Rachel, I didn't believe that. So people were telling me because she had a robe on that she was like, I thought,
choir robe.
She's a little chunky. So it was the robe, you guys. It was the robe. So she took off the robe, and it's like perfect.
That's.
But she knows. She took off that robe, and I said, wow, what a body.
And that's why we don't have a choir.
That's why we don't have a choir. So that's when you knew, huh? When she took off that choir robe.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Dad, when did you meet your wife, and how or when did you know that she was the one?
Well, actually, I will be very serious about that. She didn't have a robe on, but she looked really, really fine. I mean, I just saw her from across the room, and I said, I have no chance here, but I thought, I'm going to try. And so I just went over and said hi to her, and I was spitting from the day I met your mom, and I've always been that way.
Did you say fine? You said she looked really fine?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. But that's kind of an interesting story, right? Because wasn't she at like a frat party or something with another guy?
Well, we're in church, But actually what it was is she went on a date with a friend of mine, and I had a date. Wasn't my first date, but, one of those deals. Sorry, Brian. But I saw her across the room, and I thought, man, how did David get a girl like that? I knew Dave. But David, like frat parties go, he kind of went a little bit overboard, so she was sitting there by herself. So I just kind of thought, I was sitting there with this girl that I was with that I didn't really like, and I just kind of said, I'll see. And I got up, I went over and I introduced myself to my beautiful future wife of 47 years this year. And I went back, sat down over there with that girl and said, I'm tired, you want to go home? So I took her back to her house real fast and went back to the party.
You went back to the party, and then you ended up taking her home, right?
Oh, yeah, I had to. She didn't have a ride. The guy was gone.
Yeah, you had to. You saw your way in, and you swooped right in.
Well, and then I knew, like I said, I thought, I know this is like watching Cinderella story. Tomorrow she's going to wake up and realize this was a weird dude, But anyways, I asked her on the way, I said, what are you doing next weekend? She said, nothing. I said, you want to go out? And she said, sure. And I said, the day after that, I wanted to make sure I got a bunch of calendar dates on it. So I tried, and there we are.
Here we are. How many years later?
Pardon?
How many years have y'all been married?
47 years this year.
Wow. So, what's one thing your wife is better at than you, babe? I didn't write these questions.
Well, you remind me a lot of her. Really, my wife is better at pretty much everything. She's a better planner. She's a better communicator. She's better looking than me.
Okay.
which which reminds me of the day that I met her. Since you didn't ask me that question,
Okay,
it was kind of
sorry.
awkward. I'll go ahead and answer it for myself because she asked me this question last night, and it led to a bit of tension.
Guys,
But I stayed awake until 4 a.m. thinking about it because I am a literal person, right? And so we're going through the questions, and she's asking me these things, and I'm thinking about, like, man, when did you meet your wife? I met her through my brother Brian. You guys know the story. You've heard it a million times. If you haven't, stick around. You'll hear it sometime. But yeah, I walked into their house and saw her, and she asked me that question, and I could give a cliche answer, and I thought that's what she was looking for because it's like, if obviously she's beautiful. Who wouldn't fall in love with this girl? And she came from a good home, and she loved the Lord, and all of these great things. But I'm so literal when she asked me, like, you can't, she was like, you can't tell me,
I did my head too. Like that.
No, that was not. Who are you? I'm talking about my wife, okay? What's going on here? No, but, I thought about it all night long because I'm so literal. It's like when you ask, put that question back up. What's the one thing? No, not that one. What's the one before? How did you meet your wife? How did you know she was the one, right?
Yeah.
So when you ask me, how do you know she's the one? I'm so literal, I had to trace back. I had to go to that file in my mind, the Laura file, and go all the way back to the beginning, August of 2002, and pull that file out to be able to process through and know that Laura and I dated for all of those reasons, right? She loved the Lord. She was gorgeous. She had a great family. She loved me. But then in November, she broke my heart. No, really. Like, literally, I was heartbroken. The only girl that ever broke my heart that I cared about. And so as I'm tracing back and going, how did I know she was the one? It was because I remember praying and saying, man, God, she broke my heart. But if I could get another chance. If I could get another chance. And I remember praying, like, being so heartbroken that she broke up with me. And then one day her sister Jacqueline came to youth, and she brought this note from Laura, and I was too afraid to read it. So I held on to it for a long time. And I remember the moment that, gosh, why am I so emotional? I remember the moment that I opened the letter and I read it. And the letter's been lost to history and time. But I do remember reading the letter, and the words that you said in that letter healed my broken heart. And I knew in that moment that you were the one, because you broke my heart, but you were the only one that could actually put it back together. So there's your answer. Took me all night to process through that, but that is literally how I knew that you were the one.
All right, babe,
God
I
answered
forgive
my
you
prayer.
now for last night.
Hallelujah, I'm done.
Okay, Chris.
How do I follow that up?
Good luck.
Chris, you have the kids alone for the evening. What is your dinner plan?
Chicken nuggets and fries. It's coming through DoorDash or the microwave. Either one. I'll burn water. Like, I can't cook. So it's microwave things and ramen. My kids, thank God, they love ramen. And yeah, that's
My dinner plan is, you guys want to eat dinner?
right. When did you eat last?
Yeah, exactly.
That was dinner.
Yours is, I get home at like 9:30, and the kids are like, Mom, what's for dinner? I'm like, well, your dad didn't feed you?
Fasting.
And you're like,
fasting.
oh, I thought you might have had a plan. It's fine. It's
If
fine.
my wife doesn't tell me, they probably won't eat. But there's just a lot going on, you know, how there's a baby and all that. So
They get sleep for dinner.
Xbox.
Heido, if you could have dinner with a famous person, living or dead, who would they be and why?
Not Jesus.
Not Jesus. Oh man, that was the answer I was gonna give. Chris Martin from Coldplay. I'm just kidding. I knew that would make Brie laugh though. No, I think honestly probably Peter. It's just there's so much that we don't, you know, that we read in Scripture that, you know, we don't know, and I just have questions upon questions to figure out, you know, if I'm not asking Jesus, since Jesus isn't an okay answer.
And Chris Martin from Coldplay was actually your first choice, right?
Yeah.
It's a good one, though.
Or one of the Spy Kids.
What about you, Pastor Brian? If you could have dinner with a famous person, living or dead, who would they be and why?
You know, I'm going to stay in the Bible too. It'd probably be Moses because he had very little confidence in himself. He kept saying, I'm not a good speaker. And, you know, that's something, you know, sometimes I battle a little bit saying, you know, I'm not eloquent, I'm not that great. But looking at Moses and how God worked in and through him, he wasn't the best speaker, he wasn't the greatest leader, but guess what? God did. And so I kind of look at that going, hey, you know, when I have my ups and downs, that's okay. God understands.
That's really good.
Laura, let me just.
Yeah.
All right, so I would really, you might think it, but I would like to have dinner just me and Adam, because I'd like to slap him and say, what were you thinking? You messed it up, dude.
I also have a beef with a Bible character. I would like to eat with Noah and ask him why flies, why mosquitoes, why bees, roaches, why roaches for sure. For what reason, bro? What reason? I wouldn't slap him as Charlie, but I think it's a valid answer. Why'd you bring all these people?
Yeah.
Or bugs, whatever.
Okay. Dad, what is one piece of simple, practical parenting that you wish you would have known sooner?
You could have started with somebody else on that one, you know. But I think practical would be always, you know, don't react out of an emotion, you know. And the more that you get in the Word, the more you learn the Word. You should say, we always say, what would Jesus do? And instead of saying, I'm upset or I'm this or I'm reacting to a certain thing, take a deeper breath and sit there and say, just like they say, how are we taught? What would the Lord want us to do, and how would He want me to react to this situation? And we never saw Him reach out in major anger over any situation. So I think that's one thing that I think I would have learned would be to just be more, you know, understanding and take the deep breath first, step back before you react.
Yeah, that's good. Nice. Very good. What is a piece of advice that you'd give to a soon-to-be dads or those in a season of waiting to become dads? I'll give that one to you.
I would say you never feel like you're ready, but you're ready, right? You're never gonna feel ready, but you're able because God is able, right? He's given you everything that you need to be exactly who He's called you to be to your kids. I would say the most important advice is like all your kids want really is your time. Like you can give them the world, but if you don't give them your time, like that's super important. I think a lot of dads spend a lot of time chasing the wind and career and money and trying to provide and got to get bigger this and bigger that and they need this, and that's all great and that's all well and that's all good. But if you'll honor God and train your child in the way they should go, and you know, put a priority on God's house and His kingdom, all these things will be added unto you, and they won't resent you for not being there when they needed you most. I think that would be, yeah. And for those waiting to become a dad, here's some good advice. If you're waiting to become a dad, it's probably because one, you're not married, or two, you're just not in that season yet. But I would say if you're not married and you're a dude and you're waiting to become a dad, it means you got to find a wife first. So focus on becoming the person you're looking for is looking for, so that when that person comes along, you're the person they're looking for. And that is, getting yourself, in a good place with God, getting your solid foundation set. The song says they don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from them. So don't be a scrub, okay? Get yourself together. You don't have to be perfect, but you need to be a man who honors God, who a woman can look to and say, that's a man that can lead me. He's not perfect, but he serves a perfect God, and so become that man. And prepare yourself, like Chris said. Get your credit in order, get your house in order, get stuff in order. Learn how to save. That's a great piece of advice. Kids are expensive.
Yeah.
Learn how to save now. Okay, don't blow your stimulus checks on hot Cheetos and Slurpees. Save.
Pastor Brandon, real quick, to piggyback off of that, I'm sorry, is the season of waiting, I think what helped me the most was I wanted to be a husband, I wanted to be a dad. So I found really great dads and really great husbands to be around. I didn't leave them alone. I watched their moves, how they treated their wives, how they treated their kids. I think if you're in the season of waiting and you don't have a mentor, get one yesterday. Find somebody to connect with that can help you through this, very, very practically, and to kind of guide you in that step. Because if you're trying just to lead yourself and, I'm going to watch a movie or read a book and think you're going to have it all figured out, I got to personal experience, you won't. And so, get around some godly men, some good husbands, some really great fathers, and just soak in everything you can. Be a sponge in this season, because you'll learn so much, and be as good as you can be when that time comes.
That's good. So I was going to ask you, how do you want your children to describe you?
As a loving husband and a loving dad, and somebody who loved the Lord and was in church on Sundays and did everything they could to give back. And I don't want that to sound like a cliche answer. I just think that's really what I want my kids to remember me as. Not as the guy that just didn't care, didn't let us do whatever they want. Yeah, cool, I could be a fun dad, but if I leave them nothing, something that, guys, if you please be here for men's breakfast. It was so amazing yesterday, and Pastor Charlie gave an amazing message that being a father is already in you, and so it's so important to leave a legacy in them of fearing the Lord and loving people and doing all those things, to not just be like, oh yeah, dad left me a good house and fortune. You want to be remembered as somebody who loved the Lord and loved people.
That's good. All right, just a couple more questions, but I got to ask some about this. You all are all girl dads. Is raising a girl tough?
Yeah.
All
right. Okay, I shouldn't say this, but I'm always the good cop. So that's I'm just always the good cop. And I don't know what else to say. I'll be honest with you. I mean, having two girls, they're daddy's little girls, and it's just, I love being a girl dad. I mean, it is absolutely awesome, because they love me, and I love them, and I let Rachel do the discipline at work. I'll just be the good cop to these guys.
Yeah. So you didn't really find it to be tough at any points, or?
I really didn't, because I have all sisters. So I've got a background and, nothing but women in my life. So it was pretty easy.
You learned a lot growing up watching them.
I did.
About you, Dad? Did you think that raising girls was tough?
It was like watching and seeing each one of you be born, and watching and raising you all, and just seeing what beautiful young girls and vibrant young women you were, and what you turned into. That was all wonderful. The toughest thing that you do when you get to that is watching each of your little girls get married and go on their own. That's a tough thing when that break makes it. But then once you get through that emotional situation and see what a great family that you desire, that you bring in, and seeing what you've done through the care and the love that your mom and I give you girls, it made a wonderful thing to watch you girls get married. But I really wanted to make sure that, just like, Brian was saying, when a guy would come to the door, it was like, because I wanted to be sure that I had diamonds. I'm not gonna give up something that I believe God gave my wife and us to love and to cherish and to nurture. To have some thug come in the door, they're not gonna make it. They're gonna have to show me. And in fact, I used to kid about that, but because I loved you guys so much, when the guys would sit there, first thing I'd say is, I want to see your balance sheet. I want to see if they can take care of my kids. I want to make sure. So to me, I coveted that. And watching them grow up, you just don't want to give that up when you see these little girls running around. Are you kidding? You're still my little Dino. You know that. Love you, Dino.
I love you, Dad. Why'd you have to do that? So, what is something that raising girls has taught you, babe?
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I grew up with all boys. So this girl world was like, it was new to me. Yeah, it was tough. I mean, raising a girl, being married to a girl was tough, to begin with. Cause I came from a house full of boys. I got 3 brothers. And so coming into a marriage where there was a lot of girls, and girl dad, and you guys had it figured out for a long time. It was figuring it out. And I think what raising girls has taught me is that like words matter, like tone matters. Like with boys, like you can just speak. It's like, hey, what are you doing? If you do that to a girl, that's like, whoa, why are you yelling? That ain't yelling. It's like learning how to just relearn things that, and see things from a different point of view of like, just because it's right to me doesn't mean that it's right to her, because she sees through a different lens and hears through different, things. And so, yeah, I think that's something that is important, is that words matter. Your daughter should hear from you how beautiful, how precious, that she's a diamond. She shouldn't, some thug comes through the door, sweet talking, like she should have already heard that from her father 100 times in her lifetime, so that she's not, looking for that for some idiot, So, I think words and communication are the biggest thing that raising girls has taught me.
It's good. Very true. Heido, how have you grown and changed as a person since finding out you were going to become a father?
So when Bree and I got married, the morning after it, like we were getting our luggage ready to fly out, it hit me that, wow, like I'm not just responsible for myself, right? And so I'm responsible for the start of this family. And now fast forward to when I found out that I was having a baby, or that my wife was having a baby, it was like, now it's like, okay, now I'm responsible to keep a human being alive. And so that was just, it was just, I mean, I broke down, I started crying, and Bree has video of it. Y'all can hunt it down with her. But it was just such a sweet realization that, man, like we're at the beginning of something that, years and years from now I'll be able to, talk about all of these memories and all of these things. And I think, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I have so much, like, kind of like Pastor Chris was saying, I'm just going up to all of these dads and just kind of hanging out and seeing what they do. And the Bible says to take in the good and expel the bad. And so nobody's doing anything bad, but I'm just taking in all the good, and so that's what I'm.
I think it's eat the meat and spit out the bones.
Yes. Yeah. It was like message.
Yeah. Message version. Yeah, definitely.
So I'll ask this question and let you answer, Dad, and then you, and we can So, Dad, what has your relationship with your Heavenly Father taught you about being a father?
Well, I think that was even like Chris would have said yesterday when we had our men's breakfast, we talked about what fatherhood was. And I believe the absolute best example is Abba Father, which means daddy, which means you come, he opens the door, he's available 24/7, 365. There's nothing that you've ever done that could surprise or concern your dad. And if he would treat us that way, and we've seen so many examples in the Bible of guys that you just wonder, what did God see in them? So I know in my life that there's no guilt and condemnation that I could find, that if my Heavenly Father accepted and received these kind of guys, then I know that I could accept and he accepts and receives me, and I am the person that he created. He made me. He knows my weaknesses and my strengths. And because of that I could sit there and say, well, should I be caring? Should I be compassionate? Should I be understanding? Should I be tolerant? Well, he was, and he still is. Because if he takes a guy like me, I certainly can pass that on to my family and the members around my family and anyone. So that's how I see it.
That's good. Babe, what has your relationship with your Heavenly Father taught you about being a father? Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap, and I'm going to stand so that these guys can make their way, because we got something coming here down the pipe. Y'all give it up for these dads here. Sharon. Sharing from a wealth of wisdom and years of fathering and parenting, and we could get up here and give a Father's Day message, but I think that it's important to hear from guys that are doing it, that have done it, and they've got fruit, right? A tree is judged by its fruit. And each and every one of these men across the stage, you can look at their life, you can look at their families, you can see fruit from that. But to answer that question, what is my relationship with my Heavenly Father taught me about being a father? And I think the simplest answer is that, God is gracious. And oftentimes I think as men, we grow up in this world and we become men and we become fathers, yet we still feel inadequate. We feel like we don't have what it takes. We lack confidence. We find ourselves failing over and over and over again. But what I've learned in my relationship with Jesus and being a husband and being a father is that no matter how many times I fail, God is still confident in me. No matter how many mistakes I make, no matter how many times I get it wrong, he's still proud of me. He calls me his son. Right? He says, you are an heir and a co-heir with Christ. If you have Jesus, you have everything that you need. And so I don't have to worry about tomorrow, right? I used to worry like, oh my God, 4 kids now, how am I going to provide? And God has always just been faithful. He's been faithful. He's been faithful. Even in my failure, he's been faithful. So I would just say, Dad, you're out there. Whatever season you're in, whether you're waiting to be a dad, whether you're a soon-to-be dad, whether you are a new dad, whether you are a dad and you're separated from your kids right now, whatever season of life you are as a father right now, I would just say God sees you. Like he sees you. And he's confident. You know that God is proud of you. He's proud of me, he's proud of you, not because I'm great, not because you're great. He's proud of you because you have Jesus. And when he looks at you, he doesn't see your failures. He doesn't see your mistakes. He doesn't see your lack of confidence. He doesn't see your accomplishments. He doesn't see anything but his son. And when he sees his son in you, he says, man, Jeff, I'm proud of you. Because without Jesus, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You could win every race. You could make millions and millions of dollars. You could be the greatest this and the greatest that. But what does it profit a man if he gains the entire world, yet he loses his own soul? And so when God looks at you, he's proud because he sees Jesus in you.